Alright, YouTube, it's time I do my little video of the M14 versus the AK47, or in this case my M1A Scout Squad, which I've dubbed the M14A4, versus the M70ZPAP. Now, to begin with, both of these rifles, both of these being semi-automatic clones of the full auto military versions, both of these have their origins in the Cold War, and at this point in time both are fairly, the design of both of these is fairly old, with the M14 being derived from the M1 Garand in its receiver barrel. Not so much the gas system, I mean kinda, but not really. And the AK being kind of a creation out of necessity. So a lot of people say the M4 or the, I'm about to say M14, but the AK is a direct descendant of the STG-44, but that's not really true. The STG-44, as you know, being used by the Germans during World War II, and that was considered the first assault rifle. But Kalashnikov basically just got the idea of that kind of rifle from the STG-44. Internally, the STG-44 and the AK have nothing in common. But what I'm going on is both of these rifles are 1950s, the AK going back to 1946, 47, 48, and the M14 1950s. I believe the very first prototype version of the M14 came around in 1954, I believe, and the AK47, now this will probably piss a lot of people off because I've heard 1,000 interpretations of how the AK47 was designed and came about, but it competed with the SKS in the Soviet Union, because I do believe the SKS was created by a fellow by the name of Simonov, and Kalashnikov's AK prevailed. And like the trials for this rifle were done in 47, and they did not start mass production until 1948. Something like that. I could be wrong, but that's what I've heard. But this, of course, being a Serbian M70ZPAP, and the M14 did not get adopted by the United States Army and Marine Corps until 1959. So both these rifles, the design of them have a long history, and both of them, you know, the physical designs are, you know, somewhere in the realm of almost 60 years old now. But as you can see here, bringing them up into the 21st century is not that big of a deal. Both of these have been brought up into the 21st century. Of course, these both being, as you know, semi-auto versions of the military versions of the rifles. I have upgraded both of them to be almost mirrors to each other. Both have purses. This one has a pursed 4 with a red laser. This one has a pursed 4 with a green laser, and both have lights on the other side. So when it comes to a versus video between the two, a lot of people are going to say it's not fair because the M14 falls into the category of a battle rifle, and the AK falls into the realm of an assault rifle, but I like to call infantry fighting rifle, or as they're called on the US market, modern sporting rifle. Well, both of these are considered that, but intermediate rifle. The cartridges both shoot, both being 30 caliber. As you can see, this is the M14's bullet here on the left. The 308 Winchester 7.62 NATO. This one being a Winchester 308 150 grain silver tip. I've not yet tried any of those out through my M14A4. And then this being a 7.62 by 39. Like I think a 123 grain Wolf ammo, but it's full metal jacket. Power difference between the two is quite a lot, just given on this fact, because M14 obviously has a lot more energy and power than the AK, but the AK has more ammo, and as a result you can carry more ammo with about the same weight as the M14. Having owned, I've had a lot more experience with the M14 weapon system as a whole than I have AKs. But having this rifle for over a year now, I can say when compared directly to this rifle, you know, my short M14, the felt recoil between the two is not even really that much, with the M14 just having a little bit more. A lot of people don't realize that the M14 does not really kick that hard, especially if you add a bunch of attachments to it. The weight kind of really kills the recoil, and the felt recoil of the M14 is really light anyway because of the gas system. So between these two, and both having muzzle brakes, the M14 coming with a muzzle brake from the factory, and then I added a aftermarket muzzle brake to the M70. Both the felt recoil on these and muzzle rise is almost non-existent between the two rifles. They both shoot like a dream, and they're both really freaking accurate, with my M70ZPAP really loving a 123 grain bullet from Wolf ammo out of Russia. And then my M14A4 really likes a 168 grain bullet. Atomic ammo shoots really damn good out of this rifle. Gas systems on the two. The AK47 being long stroke. The gas system, the gas piston runs through here, and it is one solid piece from here all the way back to the bolt carrier. The M14, on the other hand, is a short stroke gas piston, with the piston itself being retained up here in the gas tube, and then it comes through, smacks the op rod, and the op rod goes back and carries the bolt back, and then brings a spring it right here, brings it back forward. So there's a difference there in the way the gas systems operate, but crazily enough, the manual arms between these two is relatively the same. And I could demonstrate that right now. Alright, manual of arms between the AK47 and M14 style rifle. Alright, now before I begin this, I must reiterate and let you all know that my M70 has a loaded 30 round mag in it. At no time am I going to pull the trigger. I'm just going to I'm going to point the gun up like this, where the camera can see it, and display the manual of arms. And I will be sure to eject rounds as they come. Alright, so the AK-47 has a right side charging handle. And what you do, well, first I'll demonstrate the magazine. Magazine, bring it in like this, with this front part in forward into the mag well. And you bring the back of the magazine in like so till it clicks. It's a rock-in type magazine. And then you bring the charging handle back and then let it go. That is the manual of arms for the AK-47. It's rock-in magazine, and then you rack the charging handle, let it go. Now for the M14. M14, same thing. Got it tilted here. Now the M14 is not loaded, do not have a loaded magazine in the gun. But same thing, magazine, as you can see, rocks in. But the front part right here is a little square right there in the front of the magazine, as you can see. You gotta get that lined up with a point inside the mag well, because that point is your op rod guide that your recoil spring goes around. But once you do it a few times, it's not that hard. Get the magazine in, front end first, and then you push in on the back and it will lock in on the mag catch like so. And then you bring the charging handle to the rear. And of course the M14 has a rear lock, so the bolt catch. The magazine pushes up on a bolt catch, the follower does, and that leaves your bolt locked to the rear after it's all said and done, after your mag is empty. And you let the bolt go back home. So the manual of arms between both the AK and the M14 are very similar, with both having rock-in magazine types of reload, and then the charging handle being used to rack the bolt or, you know, to clear the action. So both are very similar in that regard. And part of that too is because when Kalashnikov, now I've heard this from sources, don't take what I'm saying as absolute truth, I'm just letting you know what I've heard, is that the AK-47 has some aspects of the M1 Garand in its design, namely like the right side charging handle and the rotating bolt. Kalashnikov was inspired by the M1 Garand to a very small degree, although one could say the AK-47 is a conglomeration of weapons, like the general manual of arms and operation of many weapons from the Second World War. Because Kalashnikov was I do believe, part of either a tank crew or a tank driver, and he wanted to make a weapon that was robust and could handle the environment and endure just quite a bit of punishment while still being reliable. Now, this is what I've heard. I'm not saying this is true. I have to reiterate that because, understandably, AK guys, they love this rifle. I love it too. I'm an AK guy as well. But I also have about a dozen other weapon designs that I like as well. So keeping all this information in my head is hard to do. What are you barking at? It's me. It's my dog. What are you doing? Did you forget I was in here? Yeah, I'm talking about AKs and M14. Yeah, you're my buddy. But yeah, so like I was saying, I know the backstory of the AK, but my memory's kind of fuzzy because I'm interested in various different weapons platforms, not just the AK. So my memory kind of fuzzy. My head's like a gun library, if that makes sense. So, you know, if I get some details wrong, I apologize. But that is what I've heard, is that the M1 Garand is also in the design of the AK-47 as well, but very minimal. I do believe Kalashnikov was also inspired by the M1 Garand's long stroke gas piston, but I could be wrong, so don't kill me for getting slight variations of the story mixed up.